So we're jumping into one more quick presentation. We just published this week one EV charging report, globally focused, but especially US and Europe, but the lessons are broad. And next week or the week after, we're going to publish a second report along with Greenway, which is a leading EV charging network provider in Central and Eastern Europe. So I'm just going to run down a few of the key highlights that I think will lead into this discussion and are really critical to know at this stage here in this region and globally. So one, we've already talked about a little bit, and we're revising this pyramid chart because really the top triangle should be a bit smaller. The bulk of EV charging till now and going forward indefinitely is done at home. That's the convenience, the benefit of electric vehicles is you come home, you plug in, and you're good. You don't have to go find charging. You don't have to go fill up once a week. So that's the benefit of EVs, and that's where much of it is done. But not everybody has home charging. So then there's also a need for quick charging or semi-quick charging at shopping centers, at destinations, at workplaces. This is a critical second-tier component to enable basically everybody then to drive electric. But then there's a third component of long-distance trips. Long-distance trips need, I would say, not fast charging, but super fast charging, 150 kilowatt range, 100, 150 at least. So then you get that need. It's a lot less of the charging. This is a hard business model, because if people only need fast charging 3% of the time, how do you make a business model on expensive, high-power fast charging stations? But there's companies learning how to do it, and what I'm going to get into later is there's a value to being a leader and losing money for a long time, and it'll come back to you, right? So that's one thing. Just quickly, we surveyed a bunch of EV drivers and soon-to-be EV drivers. A lot of them have EV charging stations at home, so the yes bar. A lot of them have just electricity outlets where they can charge at home. A lot of them live in single-family homes, so 85% of the respondents were in single-family homes. This is the early market for electric vehicles because it's a lot of reasons, economic reasons, convenience reasons. But if you look at the total, this is the U.S., 63%, 37% of people rent, and you're much less likely to put an EV charging station into a home you're renting, right? I mean, you can, especially if you get an EV box station that you can take with you. But a lot of people also live in multi-family homes. I live in a 3-story block with a parking garage, and I can't find the right person at the parking garage to talk to put in. I picked a parking space between 3 walls so I could easily get an electricity outlet and charging station in, but you can't get through to the right person. So right now we rely on charging stations at an office park, at a shopping center down the street. So we have to sort of realize there's going to be a development pattern of who can go electric easily, and the quicker we can solve these EV charging bottlenecks for others, the better, because this market is quite limited. Again, showing the limited market, 32% of our respondents had solar power, home rooftop solar. The actual percentage among the population is like 1% or lower. So you see this is not a typical, these are people with income, with houses, with solar on their roofs. This is the market today. This is not going to be the market tomorrow. And also we highlight in the other report the benefits of smart charging. There's a tendency to say, let's get cheaper dumb charging, but there's so many benefits to smart charging. You can see it highlighted here. I would advise to not try to go the cheap and easy dumb charging route, but to go straight into smart charging to save money in the long term. Again, so 25% of our respondents have a smart charger at home. So it's not so even in this market of early adopters, high income, only 25% have a smart charger. So there's still tremendous potential in this market. It's just such a baby market right now. So with the charging stations, and the sort of core message I'm going to keep coming back to is there's room for leadership. This market is about to explode, and there's still so much latent demand, latent potential. Its leadership is going to be rewarded, just like it was rewarded in the mobile phone sector, in the smartphone sector, in various sectors where You think it's going to be 20 years out, but it's actually going to be 3 years out maybe. The next electric car is hard to see, but a lot of it, basically the highlight here is people want cars with a lot of range, and they're going towards cars with a lot of range. So you have Tesla has 3 models with long range, and they have the most respondents were planning to get a Tesla. The next was Chevrolet with the Bolt. The next was Nissan, which has this 150-mile Leaf just came out. So you see, range is pulling people, and it's pulling in a whole new market. It's pulling in a whole new market, especially as an affordability impact. But there's also, the power needs of fast chargers, super fast chargers, are serious. And at the same time, we have growing renewable energy production, which provides different challenges to the grid, the need for grid stabilization, for grid frequency stabilization. We're just starting to see EV charging stations with stationary storage built in, where that can protect them from high grid fees, high fees for peak usage, but that also provides a value to the grid that possibly provides an economic a source of revenue for EV charging stations beyond just the customers, but actually working with utilities, they can perhaps get paid by utilities to help balance the grid. So I think we'll see a lot more. This first grid-backed fast charger was launched in Slovakia a few weeks ago. I think it's the first in the region, one of the first in Europe. So now getting to the second report was about EV charging guidelines for cities. We wanted to get really practical. We had a conference with EV charging leaders and EV Box, Fortum. This is a European focus, so we didn't have, but we had Greenway, which is a very similar name for the region. And we tried to pull out, and city leaders, policy leaders pull out, what are the key guidelines, and we had workshops that cities need to follow. Like, this is what they really need to do to help this movement and to be at the front of this movement where you're benefiting from the revolution. And I think there is a revolution. Of course, NG is doing a good job of using that as branding with their annual Revolution Conference in Amsterdam, where I'll be co-MC this year. But one thing is to be a champion. You need a champion at every level. You need a champion at big corporations like NG who see this as the future and say we're going to go fully into this globally. You need champions at the small and medium enterprise and startup level who say, hey, everybody says this is ridiculous to put EV charging stations all over UAE. It's not, and I think that's key. But then these leaders run into a barrier at the regulatory level, or you run into a barrier with consumer awareness and understanding. So then you need leaders in the consumer awareness field. You need leaders in the regulatory field who say, as Faris was saying earlier, cut that down from 3 months to 5 weeks and then cut it down to 24 hours. And it can be done. It can be done, but you have to have leaders at every step, and everyone in this room can be a leader in some way or another. I will not agree with anyone who says I can't do anything. Everyone can be a leader in some way in your own circle, in your own work. But you have to help break down barriers of awareness, regulatory barriers. It's good for a city to have a full plan, a full understanding of what they want to do with EVs, so go into a full plan on it. Charging stations need to be conspicuous and ubiquitous. They need to be very visible and all over the place. So Tesla does a wonderful job with this. You can see that this beautiful station with red and blue and lights. So we highlighted some ways that you should be conspicuous and ubiquitous. In the report, you have a lot more detail, but it's about colors, lighting, scale. I was walking by an EV, I've been in this business for 10 years or something. I was walking by an EV charging station for a year, going to the shopping center, down the street, 5-minute walk, never saw it. I was test driving an EV and someone said there were EV charging stations in my Polish city in Poland. And I got on PlugShare and checked and I was like, there's one right next to the shopping center I go to every day. It's invisible. You have to make these visible. That's the marketing, that's the consumer awareness potential of them. Make them in nice places where it's attractive to be charging, that pulls people to the station. They need to be smart, networked. Cities can procure EVs. They make the total cost of ownership sale for EVs is amazing already. Cities can procure them for fleets. You have Dubai, of course, is doing 50 now towards 200 Tesla taxis. And my wife and my first daughter in Amsterdam enjoying the benefits of on-street parking there, where if you want a charging station on your street in Amsterdam, You just tell the city and they put it in. So this is, I mean, it's a simple policy. They put it in, or EV Box puts it in, or New Motion. EV Box puts in a lot of them. But it's a simple policy. Hey, it's a sort of free market policy. We'll give EV charging stations to the people who want them. So if they ask, we put one in. You have to have a lot of charge. You can't have a 2 or 3 port station, because when a driver goes to it, they have to know they're going to have a port. It can't, if the port is down, if it's blocked, that's going to kill the market. So you have to have enough ports that you have that you can rely on the charging stations. The speeds have to be super fast for long distance.